If you've never watched a 60-year-old woman rock two pairs of sunglasses at once, one prescription tucked under a pair of blinding rhinestone drugstore aviators, standing on the sidewalk and absolutely losing her mind at a roof, then you haven't lived in Oak Creek Estates. And you sure as hell don't know Mrs. Higgins. That's how my Tuesday started, anyway. I was still standing in my driveway, clutching a mug of coffee, so tepid you could call it room temperature, and not be lying, just staring at the show. It's barely past 7 in the morning. Arizona sun already feels like it's climbing up your shirt. And there she is, Mrs. Higgins, 3 inches past my property line, because she's learned if she steps on my grass, I will not hesitate to let the sprinklers loose on her. We've played that game before, believe me. She's screaming. It's an assault. Waving her finger at the top of my house like she's accusing my roof of some heinous crime. I take a deliberate, slow sip of coffee. Morning, Mrs. Higgins. Gorgeous day for a tan. You yelling at the clouds, or is it my turn again? She snaps. Don't you get smart with me, young man. And hikes up those sunglasses. She's a sight. She's raving about my hideous industrial glass monstrosities ruining the neighborhood. Claims she nearly got blinded walking Mittens past my place. Now, Mittens, in case you're wondering, is a poodle in theory and a sentient dust bunny in practice. Mittens, at that exact moment, is sniffing a fire hydrant, oblivious to the so-called supernova on my roof. Mrs. Higgins, those are high-efficiency solar panels. They absorb light. That's literally the point. If they reflected everything, my electric bill wouldn't be zero. She doesn't miss a beat. I don't care about your electric bill. I care about the aesthetic integrity of this neighborhood. I care about the pilots. Do you want a 747 landing in the community pool because you want to save a few pennies on AC? I just say, we are 50 miles from the nearest airport. If a pilot is using my roof as a navigational aid, we've got bigger problems than HOA compliance. She gives me that look, arms crossed, migraine incoming, swearing vengeance. You'll be hearing from the board. This isn't over. And off she stomps, Mittens skittering after her. So I go back inside, thinking that's that, another round of HOA theater, nothing new. Except, 3 days later, certified mail shows up. My buddy Steve, who delivers our mail and always gives me the heads up on the latest HOA shenanigans, hands me an envelope and just grimaces. Sorry, Jack. It's from the dark side. I bring it inside and sit down with my wife, Sarah, who's just rhythmically chopping vegetables, her knife doing all the talking. What's up? She asks, not even glancing up. Violation notice, I say, opening the envelope. Not just a letter, a whole dossier. Grainy photos of my roof. Shots from a drone, apparently. There's even a blurry bird that looks suspiciously like Mrs. Higgins wearing a feathered hat. Read it, Sarah says, and I start in on this Shakespearean drama of legalese. Dear homeowner, it has come to the attention of the Architectural Control Committee that you have installed unauthorized reflective surfaces, yada yada, in direct violation of Article 14, Section B, Subsection 2, nuisance and glare. I pause. That's about floodlights pointing in windows. Keep going, Sarah says, the knife finally pausing. The board has determined that the reflective index of your solar panels exceeds the community standard for matte finishes. Multiple complaints have been filed regarding blinding glare affecting pedestrians and vehicular traffic. Sarah snorts. Vehicular traffic? In a cul-de-sac? The only traffic. Here is Mrs. Higgins on her daily prowl. I keep reading, and my blood pressure starts ticking up. You are hereby ordered to remove the non-compliant structures within 14 days. Failure to comply will result in a fine of $500 per day, retroactive to the date of installation. I do the math out loud. That's 30 grand in fines. They want to fine me the cost of the entire system. Sarah puts the knife down. They can't do that. State law protects solar panels. You checked? I nod. Yeah, I checked. Solar Rights Act says they can't unreasonably restrict solar energy, but there's always a loophole. If it's a nuisance or safety hazard, they can ban it. She's claiming I'm blinding people. She's setting up the loophole. So fight it, Sarah says, crunching a bell pepper like she's biting into Mrs. Higgins's soul. Bring the specs, bring the science. Embarrass her at the meeting tonight. Oh, I'll do more than embarrass her, I say, grabbing my truck keys. I'm going to bury her in physics. Cut to that evening. The monthly HOA meeting inside the world's beigest room. Carpet, walls, chairs, all the color of depression. 20 neighbors. Mrs. Higgins sits up front, flanked by Bob, the treasurer, possibly napping with eyes open, and Janice, the secretary, scribbling like her pen owes her money. When they open the floor, I march straight up, violation notice in one hand, manufacturer spec sheet in the other. I'm here to appeal the violation regarding my roof. Mrs. Higgins does her best shark smile. Jack, we were expecting you. Please keep it brief. We have a lot to discuss about the color of the mulch in the playground. Sure, I say. Here's the brief version. You're lying. My panels don't glare. They're anti-reflective glass, less than 2% reflection. Asphalt shingles reflect more than that when wet. The windshield of your Cadillac is brighter. A couple chuckles from the crowd. Mrs. Higgins doesn't budge. She slides my data sheet off the table like it's a used napkin. Data sheets are all well and good, Jack, but we live in the real world. I have sworn affidavits from 3 neighbors who say the glare is unbearable. 3 neighbors? Name them. They wish to remain anonymous to avoid retaliation. You seem volatile. Volatile? I'm an accountant. She waves me off. The board has voted. The panels are ugly. The bylaws say uniform, non-reflective roofing, consistent with the neighborhood style. So that's it. I say. I spend 30 grand to go green, and you force me to rip it off because you don't like the way it looks? It's not just looks. Janice pipes up, eyes wide. It's the glare. What if a child gets blinded and hits a tree? I just stare at her. Unless that kid is hang gliding, there's no way. Never mind. Mrs. Higgins slams her little gavel. You have 10 days. No glass. No shiny surfaces. We want matte, dark, non-reflective. I look at her. So, as long as it's dark, matte, and not shiny, you don't care what I use. Yes, she sighs, already bored. Pitch black if you have to. Just stop the reflection. Something in my brain clicks, a kind of slow, malicious gear turning. Okay, I say, picking up my violation notice. I'll take them down. She blinks. She was expecting a war, not a surrender. Absolutely. I smile. This is not a friendly smile. I'll give you exactly what you asked for. The darkest, mattest, most light-eating roof you've ever seen. No glare. You won't see a single ray of sunshine off my house. She turns back to her paperwork, satisfied. See that you do. I don't go home. I sit in my truck, pull out my phone, and start searching industrial thermal control, high emissivity metals. Materials used to melt snow off warehouses in the Arctic. I'm not just replacing my roof. I'm weaponizing it. Next morning, I call in sick to work. I've got a project. After half an hour of scrolling, I find what I need. Big Tony's Custom Metal and Roofing. The reviews are wild. Half say Tony's a genius. Half say he scared their pets. I like those odds. I call. Yeah, this is Tony. Tony, this is Jack. I need a roof. But it's weird. I like weird, Tony says. Weird pays cash. What you want? Copper, zinc, a turret. No turret. I need a standing seam metal roof, dead black, matte finish. Zero reflectivity. Industrial grade. The kind of stuff that eats sunlight for breakfast. Tony goes quiet. You mean that barn steel they use up north? That's the stuff. Buddy, you're in Arizona. You put that on your roof, you're gonna bake. I know. That's the point. Tony laughs so hard I think he might fall over. Oh, you got an HOA problem. You want to cook him? I want to comply with the bylaws. Maliciously. He says, I'll bring the swatches. We'll find you a black so deep it looks like a hole in the universe. Tony shows up an hour later. Guy's a walking mountain. He flips to the back of his binder, shows me midnight matte, heavy gauge, granular steel, eats light, rated for snow in Minnesota. What happens in Arizona? I ask. It'll hit 180 degrees by noon. Your house will radiate heat like a barbecue pit. Is it legal? Totally. Metal roofs allowed. Black is a neutral color. We shake on it. Demolition starts Thursday. The whole neighborhood watches. Mrs. Higgins is positively gleeful, thinking she's won. Glad to see you're finally seeing reason, she shouts over the drills. Oh yes, ma'am, I say. No more glare. This roof meets all your specs. Darkest, mattest metal there is. She wrinkles her nose. Well, as long as it isn't shiny. I assure her. You won't see a thing in this roof. It's very absorbing. By Friday, my house is a void. It's not even a roof anymore. It's like the top of my house just stops absorbing photons and starts absorbing hope. But inside, Tony's double insulation keeps things cool. Outside, step into my driveway, and you're stepping into a microwave. Saturday morning, I open the front door. Instant wave of radiant heat, like opening the oven to check on Thanksgiving turkey. My yard shimmers with heat. Dave, my other neighbor, yells, "Hey Jack, is it me, or is it hotter over there?" I wave. "Global warming, Dave." Mrs. Higgins doesn't appear until noon. She tries to water her hydrangeas by the fence, 3 steps out, and she looks like she hit a force field. The water turns to steam before it hits the dirt. The plants toast. She retreats, slamming her sliding glass door. Monday, I find a note taped to my door. "Jack, I'm not walking up your driveway anymore. My shoes are melting. Your mail's in the box." Signed, Steve. The inside of my house is comfortable. The outside, the grass in Mrs. Higgins's yard is browning. Her hydrangeas are skeletal remains. She comes storming over. "What have you done? It's 110 degrees in my backyard." I say, "My phone says 98. Must be a localized pressure system." She shakes her finger at me. "It's that monstrosity. My patio furniture melted, Jack." "Melted?" I put on my best sad face. "But Mrs. Higgins, I did exactly what you asked. No shine, no glare, darkest roof in Arizona." She shrieks, "I'm calling the police. This is an assault." "Go ahead. I'll be inside, staying hydrated." And she does. About an hour later, Officer Miller shows up, walks halfway up the driveway, then stops, sweating bullets. "Sir, is there a fire?" "No, officer, just a very compliant roof." Mrs. Higgins comes running out. "Arrest him for public endangerment. Look at my hydrangeas." Officer Miller looks at the dead flowers, looks at my house, then at the sun. "Ma'am, it's hot out. We live in a desert." She shouts, "Not this hot. Walk over there." He obliges. 5 seconds by the fence, he's back. "Yeah, that's spicy." Checks my permit, the HOA letter. Turns to Mrs. Higgins. "He's in full compliance, ma'am. Suggest you stay inside. Maybe plant some cacti." She's furious. "I'll call the fire department." 20 minutes later, fire truck rolls in. Captain Rodriguez pulls out a thermal camera, points it at my roof. "Mother of God. Jack, what you got up there, a reactor core?" "Just black steel, Captain." He shakes his head. "Surface temps 185 degrees. You could fry a steak up there. But it's safe. Just don't touch it." Mrs. Higgins tries. "But my comfort." Rodriguez just grins. "Not a fire department issue. Stay cool." The real twist comes 3 days later. The heat is spreading. The asphalt on the street has softened so much the garbage truck leaves ruts. Dave knocks on my door, looking exhausted. "Jack, my AC's on the side facing your house. It's sucking in that hot air. Can't keep up. My siding is warping. My kids are sleeping in the basement." I feel a pang. "Sorry, Dave. Mrs. Higgins demanded this. It's not personal." Dave nods. "I know. And so does everyone else. We're calling a meeting." Emergency HOA meeting. Everyone's sweating in that beige room because the AC's busted. Justice, right? Mrs. Higgins is wilted. Dave stands up and shouts, "Fix Jack's roof." She bristles. "He installed it." "No, you made him," the crowd yells. "You said black. You said matte." Now everyone's complaining. The street's melting, fences are warping, bills are skyrocketing. Mrs. Higgins tries to argue, but nobody's listening. She looks at me, desperate. "Jack, surely you agree this can't go on?" I lean back. "I don't know, Mrs. Higgins. I'm enjoying the privacy. No one can walk by without a heat stroke." She surrenders. "What will it take?" I stand up, paper in hand. "Here are my terms. I'll remove the metal roof. HOA pays for removal and new roofing of my choice. I reinstall my solar panels. HOA signs a permanent variance. No more nitpicking. HOA compensates my neighbors for damages. And finally, Mrs. Higgins, you write a formal apology in the newsletter, admitting you were wrong about solar panels." She glares at me, then at the mob. "Fine," she mutters. "Just get that infernal roof off." Tony comes back, laughing all the way to the bank, and replaces the black steel with standard shingles, paid for by the HOA. The solar panels go back up. They shine like trophies. Mrs. Higgins doesn't come out to watch. In fact, 2 weeks later, a for sale sign appears on her lawn. Rumor has it she's moving to a condo where someone else gets to be the villain. The heat wave ends. Dave gets a new fence, courtesy of the HOA. We have a barbecue. I sit on my porch, sip a cold beer, and admire the sun reflecting gloriously off my beautiful, victorious solar panels, shining a bright glare right onto the for sale sign across the way. Later that night, I open up the HOA newsletter. There's the apology front and center. Solar panels are permitted and encouraged. Sweetest thing I've ever read. So here's the thing. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. Or, fight glare with a miniature heat island. Malicious compliance, folks. It's not just a hobby. In Arizona, it's a full contact sport. Now let me ask you, where's the line between justice and revenge? Between compliance and common sense? Would you have done what I did, or would you have caved and played nice? Drop your stories below. Let's hear about the time you turned the rules against the rule makers. What's your take? Was I right, or just plain spiteful? And hey, if you've ever stared down a HOA tyrant or survived a neighborhood feud, hit that share button. I want to hear it all. What does justice look like where you live?